Welcome to the Make It a Better Day podcast, where we explore ways to create positive change in our lives and the world around us. I'm Alex.
And I'm Victoria. Today we're diving into an enlightening article titled Smart Spending: Unlock Your Path to Financial Freedom. It's a powerful piece that explores how we can transform our relationship with money and build real financial security.
You know, this topic really hit home for me yesterday. I was standing in line at the store, cart full of items, when I had this moment of clarity. Half the stuff in my cart was things I didn't need, just things I thought would make my life look better on social media.
Yes, I've totally been there. What did you do?
I actually took a step back, left my cart, and went home to really think about my spending habits. It reminded me of this powerful quote from Will Rogers that we'll be discussing today. Too many people spend money they earn to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like.
That quote is a real wake-up call, isn't it? Last month, I caught myself about to spend $300 on a designer bag, not because I needed it, but because my colleague had one. When I really thought about it, I realized I could put that money toward my emergency fund instead.
Let's break this down for our listeners. Why do you think we fall into these spending traps?
I think it's a perfect storm of social pressure, clever marketing, and what psychologists call social comparison. We're constantly bombarding our brains with images of what others have, especially on social media.
And speaking of social media, it's interesting how it's changed the way we think about wealth and success. Remember when having a nice car and house was enough? Now people feel pressure to post expensive vacations, designer clothes, and fancy restaurant meals.
Absolutely. But here's what's fascinating. When you look at truly wealthy individuals, many of them don't play this game at all. Take Warren Buffett, for example.
Yes. Tell our listeners about Buffett's approach to wealth.
Well, despite being one of the world's wealthiest individuals, Buffett still lives in the same modest home he bought in 1958 and drives an everyday car. He's famous for saying that if you buy things you don't need, you'll soon sell things you need.
And he's not alone in this philosophy, right? Dave Ramsey has some powerful insights too.
Exactly. Ramsey's 7 baby steps have helped millions of people get out of debt and build wealth. He emphasizes that wealth isn't about showing off, it's about building a secure future.
Let's get practical here. The article outlines several steps to financial empowerment. Can we break these down for our listeners?
Absolutely. The first step is conducting a spending audit. I actually did this last month, and I was shocked at what I found.
What surprised you the most?
I discovered I was spending over $200 a month on subscription services I barely used. It really showed me how those small, automatic payments add up.
That's such a great example of mindless spending. Let's talk about the joy check concept. I love this one.
Yes. Before any purchase, you ask yourself, will this bring lasting joy or just momentary satisfaction? I've started applying this to everything, even small purchases.
How has it changed your spending habits?
Dramatically. Last week, I was about to buy another plant for my collection. I'm a bit of a plant addict. But when I did the joy check, I realized I wasn't even taking proper care of the ones I already had.
That's perfect. And it leads us to another important strategy, the 30-day rule. Can you explain that one?
Of course. For any non-essential purchase, you wait 30 days before buying. It's amazing how many must-have items lose their appeal after a few weeks.
I've heard some people keep a want list with dates, and they're often surprised to see how their desires change over time.
That's brilliant. It's like a cooling-off period for your wallet. You know what's interesting? Studies show that anticipation can actually be more enjoyable than the purchase itself.
Let's talk about building what the article calls a financial fortress. This goes beyond just saving money, right?
Absolutely. It's about creating layers of security. First, you need that emergency fund, ideally 3 to 6 months of expenses. But it's also about investing wisely and protecting yourself with appropriate insurance.
I had a personal experience that really drove home the importance of an emergency fund. My car broke down last year, and instead of going into debt for repairs, I had the peace of mind of having savings to cover it.
That's exactly what financial freedom feels like, having options instead of obligations. But let's talk about the social aspect too, because that's huge.
You mean curating your social circle?
Yes. The article mentions surrounding yourself with people who support your financial goals rather than those who pressure you to overspend. I had to make some tough decisions about this recently.
How did you handle that?
I started suggesting coffee dates instead of expensive brunches, and movie nights at home instead of expensive outings. The friends who really mattered were completely on board.
That's such a great point about true friendship versus surface-level relationships. It ties back to the Will Rogers quote, Why are we trying to impress people who don't really matter to us?
Exactly, and this brings us to the challenge presented in the article. Want to explain it to our listeners?
The challenge is to list 3 recent purchases made primarily to impress others and calculate the total cost. Then imagine redirecting that money toward a personal goal or dream.
I did this exercise, and it was eye-opening. I had spent $500 on a designer jacket I rarely wear, $200 on trendy sneakers that hurt my feet, and $300 on a fancy dinner to impress a date.
That's $1,000 that could have gone toward
My dream of taking a photography course and buying a quality camera. When I realized that, it really changed my perspective on spending.
This all leads to the bigger picture, redefining what wealth really means. It's not just about having money, is it?
Not at all. True wealth is about having the freedom to live authentically, the security to weather life's storms, and the ability to support what really matters to you.
And that's really the heart of smart spending, aligning your money with your values.
Exactly. It's about creating a life of meaning and purpose, not just accumulating stuff.
Any final thoughts for our listeners who want to start this journey toward financial freedom?
Start small. Pick one idea from today's discussion, maybe the joy check or the 30-day rule. Small changes compound over time, just like interest.
Thank you for those insights. And to our listeners, if you want to dive deeper into smart spending and other ways to make positive changes in your life, visit our website. We've got articles, videos, and more just waiting for you.
And don't forget to check out our Redbubble store, where you'll find practical and fun merch like hats, mugs, and journals. Perfect ways to make your day better.
Until next time, remember, every mindful financial decision is a step toward a better tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. Let's keep making it a better day.